important standard, which is Ind AS 24, related party disclosures. Related party disclosures, which is similar to AS 18 under the Indian GAAP. So Indian GAAP had this related party disclosure standard. So what is different over here? Over here also they have provided the relationships of related parties, and they have provided the transactions that has to be disclosed with these related parties. This is not an accounting standard. This is only a disclosure based standard. Okay, so here what all we will see is what is a related party. Under Ind AS what is different is only identification of related parties. एक बार आपको समझ में आ गया कि कौन कौन सी पार्टीज रिलेटेड पार्टीज है, आफ्टर दैट एवरीथिंग इज सिंपल, डिस्क्लोजर सेम ही है, जो भी ट्रांजैक्शंस इंडियन रिलेटेड पार्टीज के साथ हुए हैं वो आपको डिस्क्लोज करना है. सो डिस्क्लोजर्स आर सिमिलर, द आइडेंटिफिकेशन इज व्हाट इज डिफरेंट अंडर दिस स्टैंडर्ड. मूविंग अहेड. तो यहाँ पर क्या क्या कवर किए, डेफिनेशन, रिलेशनशिप्स एंड ट्रांजैक्शंस. ये दोनों में आपको देखना है. यू हैव टू सी इन द कंसोलिडेटेड फाइनेंशियल्स आल्सो एंड यू हैव टू सी इन अ सेपरेट फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स आल्सो. फॉर बोथ दिस स्टैंडर्ड इज एप्लीकेबल. नो अकाउंटिंग इज रिक्वायर्ड. Identification of related parties. I am trying to make this identification as simple as possible, but please understand you don't have to memorize this related party relationships ever. So whenever you are in a practical application, you will always keep these relationships in front of you, and then you will identify whether it is a related party or not. So don't get confused. It is your first time when you are understanding these relationships. So always keep the relationships in front of you whenever you are identifying which all parties are related to the reporting entity. So reporting entity वो entity है जिसका आप Ind AS कर रहे हो, and you will identify which all parties are related to this reporting entity. Okay, so the related parties are divided into two main parts. It might be a person or it might be an entity. In person there are 3 relationships, and in entity they have defined 8 relationships which are to be disclosed in the financial statements for the related party transactions. So who all are covered in persons? A person or a close family member of a person is a related party of the reporting entity if the person is having a control or a joint control over the reporting entity. Is the first condition, or is the first instance. So if the entity is controlling or joint controlling, how will you identify whether the entity is controlling or joint controlling? The detailed definition, a very elaborate definition, is given in Ind AS 110. That is consolidation standard. Even the definition of joint control is given. You will have to apply the definition and determine whether that person is controlling that particular entity or not. To simplify it for today's lecture, control is if the entity is holding more than 50%, then generally the entity controls the person controls that reporting entity. Or if it is a joint control, that exact 50-50 relationship, here it is more than 50, and if it is a joint control, it might be 50-50, it might be 1/3, whatever it is. If you are having a joint control, so today we are going purely on the shareholding. बहुत बड़ा और detailed definition दिया हुआ है in Ind AS 110 में. We'll have to apply the definition and then determine whether the person is controlling that entity or not. Then second relationship is if a particular person or his close family member is having a significant influence over that reporting entity. What is significant influence? More than 20%. If that entity, if that person is holding more than 20% in that entity, it is having a significant influence over the reporting entity. Third relationship is a member of the key managerial personnel of that reporting entity or of the parent of the reporting entity. मतलब क्या? मेरा KMP या मेरे holding company का KMP is a related party for me. So these are the persons. As a person कौन-कौन related party में cover होता है. We'll take examples also over this, don't worry. So covering with the what do we mean by control, joint control and a significant influence? As I've said, this will be detailed. This is a very elaborate definition as per Ind AS 110 and Ind AS 111, which are consolidation related standards. And according to this definition, we will decide whether that person is having a control or a joint control or a significant influence over that reporting entity. So as of today, assume 50% above 50% as control, 50% as joint control, and about 20% as significant influence. Even ये स्टैंडर्ड में भी यही दिया गया है, but और भी detailed conditions दिए गए हैं, according to which you will decide whether a party is having control, joint control, or a significant influence. All right. And who is a KMP? Again, this is also important definition. KMP is a person who is involved in planning, directing and controlling the activities of the entity directly and indirectly. यहाँ तक तो ठीक है, including any director, whether executive or otherwise. मतलब executive हो, non-executive हो, all will form a part of KMP. So previously in AS 18, non-executive directors were not forming a part of KMP. Under this Ind AS, even the non-executive directors are the part of the KMPs of the company. So this is a change. Name transactions or new related parties get identified due to this change, which is applicable to all the companies. Sub companies may you will find the non-executive directors, which will be part of this transactions. Non-executives are related parties even if their decisions are subject to the approval at a higher level. That doesn't make a difference. Who are the close family members? यहाँ पर they have not defined exact relationships, but they have given close family members are those individuals who might be influenced, expected to be influenced, or he might influence. मतलब क्या? मैं किसी को अगर influence कर रहा हूँ या वो person मुझसे influence हो रहा है. These two are expected to be the close family members. They have given inclusive definition. This might include domestic partner. Spouses के ऊपर तो influence expected ही है. It is a default relationship. On the children of the individual's domestic partner and the dependence upon that individual or the individual's domestic partner. So in short, your partner, your children and dependents are given. They have not given exact relationships like mother, father, brother, sister. I say relationships नहीं दिए हैं. They have given a criteria. A person who is influenced or expected to be influenced. Those are the close family members, and they have just given the inclusive definition. All right, which covers the spouses, the children, and the dependents. So moving ahead, we'll take an example. Mr. X holds 70% in entity Q. What does it mean? That Mr. X is controlling. Mr. X is controlling entity Q. If Mr. X is controlling entity Q, for entity Q, Mr. X is a related party, correct? Mrs. X, which is a spouse of Mr. X, will also be a related party, assuming it is a close family member. Spouses are, you cannot deny that they are the close family members. So for the purpose of entity Q, Mr. X and Mrs. X are the related parties. Next example. This is a bit higher level example. So there is an entity A. Mr. X is a KMP, a key managerial person in the entity A. Entity A holds 70% in entity Q, and which is मतलब क्या है कि entity A is subsidiary, entity Q is subsidiary of entity A, बराबर है, and Mr. A is KMP of entity Q. So identify the related parties over here. खाली जो भी persons है वो आप identify करो कौन-कौन related parties है. A के लिए कौन-कौन related party है? A के लिए सिर्फ Mr. X related party है. In this example, spouses का कुछ भी नहीं दिया है. Ignore the spouses or any other close family members. So for A, Mr. X is a related party. Why? Because they have said the key managerial personnel of that reporting entity. For Q, who is the related party? For Q, उसका जो KMP है, that is Mr. A is a related party, and KMP of a holding company or parent company का भी KMP is a related party. तो यहाँ पर X भी related party. So understand, holding company के लिए subsidiary का KMP is not a related party, but subsidiary company के लिए parent company का related party is a parent company का KMP is a related party. Don't go by standard rules. Understand the logic. अगर entity Q को ही control entity A कर रहा है, तो उसका KMP तो ये entity के लिए related party होना ही है. Eventually, who is controlling entity Q? Eventually, Mr. X is controlling entity Q. Correct? That is why for entity Q, खुद का KMP भी related party है, parent company का भी KMP related party है. Got it? I hope it is clear. And don't worry, you don't have to memorize those relationships. You can always go back to the definition given. यहाँ पर जाओ, is a member of the KMP or of the parent of the reporting entity. Very simple. Always go back to the definition and understand. All right. Moving ahead. अभी हमने क्या देखा? We discussed only which persons are the related parties. अभी हमने देखा. Second हम लोग क्या देखेंगे कि which entities are the related parties. मतलब, let's understand. The entity and the reporting entity are the member of the same group. Group में कौन कौन आता है? Which all relationships come under a group? Holding company, subsidiary company, and your joint venture form the part of the same group. So if you are a company X, आपकी holding company भी आपकी related party है, आपकी subsidiary company भी आपकी related party है, आपका joint venture भी आपका related party है. So all members of the same group are related parties to each other. If you are forming a part of the same group, वो ग्रुप का मेंबर कोई भी हो, सबके लिए एक दूसरे जन रिलेटेड पार्टी बन जाएंगे. सो इफ आई एम सेइंग एक्स की सब्सिडरी कौन है? एक्स की सब्सिडरी फॉर एग्जांपल ए, वो भी उसकी रिलेटेड पार्टी होगी. एक्स का जॉइंट वेंचर है, फॉर एग्जांपल एक्स का जॉइंट वेंचर है पी. सो एक्स के लिए ए भी रिलेटेड पार्टी है, पी भी रिलेटेड पार्टी है. P के लिए भी ये दोनों related parties है, A के लिए भी ये दोनों related parties है. So everybody is related party of each other. Moving a bit ahead, suppose A की एक step down subsidiary है A1, then what? Still it is forming a part of the same group. Step down subsidiary is nothing but as good as subsidiary of the main parent company. So here also every member is related party of each other. P के लिए X भी related party है, A भी related party है, A1 भी related party है, even for this joint venture P. So if you identify a group comprises of a subsidiary and a joint venture. If it is a part of the same group, उसमें जो भी हो, holding company हो, subsidiary company हो, joint venture हो, step down subsidiary हो, everybody will be related party of each other. कोई भी reporting entity आप पकड़ो, आपका सब members of the group, every member of the group will be the related party. Second, relationships. One entity is an associate entity or joint venture of the other entity or group. मतलब क्या? मेरा joint venture मेरे लिए related party है, मेरा associate मेरे लिए related party है, या मेरे group में से जिसी का भी वो associate हो या जिसका भी वो joint venture हो is related party for the reporting entity. I will take examples, don't worry over it. So X, मेरी associate is my related party. My joint venture is my related party. Then if this is a subsidiary A, subsidiary A has another joint venture J2. So even for me, if I am the reporting entity X, subsidiary's joint venture is also my related party. मेरे ग्रुप में से किसी का भी associate हो या किसी का भी joint venture हो is my related party. All right, I hope it is clear. So once you identify members of the groups, वो group members के जो भी associate या joint ventures हो is your related party also. Okay, both entities are joint ventures of the same third party. मतलब क्या? I am entity A, मेरा एक joint venture है J1, ठीक है, मेरा दूसरा जॉइंट वेंचर है J2, ये दोनों भी एक दूसरे के रिलेटेड पार्टी है. तो मेरे लिए इफ आई एम द रिपोर्टिंग एंटिटी ए, मेरे लिए तो J1 रिलेटेड पार्टी है बिकॉज इट इज माय जॉइंट वेंचर. मेरे लिए J2 भी रिलेटेड पार्टी है बिकॉज इट इज माय जॉइंट वेंचर. फॉर मी इवन J1 और J2 भी आपस में रिलेटेड पार्टीज है. ऑलराइट, आई होप इट इज क्लियर. देयर आर फर्दर एग्जांपल्स ahead also. One entity is a joint venture of a third entity and other entity is an associate of a third entity. So again same. I am entity X. मेरी एक associate है entity A. मेरी एक associate है entity. मेरी एक joint venture है J. ये दोनों भी एक दूसरे के related parties है. Tell me one thing, ये associate never falls a member of the same group. So associate will never form a member of the same group. Fifth condition, the entity is a post-employment benefit plan. The entity is a post-employment benefit plan for the benefit of the employees of either the reporting entity or an entity covered related to the reporting entity. If the reporting entity is itself such plan, the sponsoring employees are also related entity of the reporting entity. For the time being, ignore these relationships. Whenever we'll cover or whenever you will read the employee benefit standards, you will understand this related party. For the time being, अगर कुछ they would have built up certain trust or certain for the benefit of the employees, that trust is also a related party. So for the time being, itna hi samjho, don't go into the detail of this definition. Any trust or any organization formed for the benefit of the employees, which is giving a defined benefit plan, even that is also a related party of a reporting entity. यहाँ तक let's take certain examples. Then we will cover this 1, 2, and 3, the balance relationships. So at least you will understand how this is working. So direct control for entity P, there is a subsidiary, associate, and joint venture. This is a direct control. This is a significant influence. This is a joint control. For every party, for entity P, S is a related party, A is a related party, and J is a related party because it is a subsidiary, associate, and joint venture. They are under the common control of entity P. And for every S के लिए भी P, A और J रिलेटेड पार्टी है. A के लिए भी J, P और S रिलेटेड पार्टी है. A के लिए जॉइंट वेंचर है, A के लिए P होल्डिंग कंपनी है और उसका सारा ग्रुप इज अ रिलेटेड पार्टी. सो एवरीबडी इज रिलेटेड पार्टी ऑफ ईच अदर in this transaction. Next slide. A bit difficult, understand slowly. P has a subsidiary S. P has a step down subsidiary S1. तो S1 उसकी step down subsidiary है. P के लिए A1 एक associate है और P के लिए A2 दूसरा associate है. ठीक है. For P, who all are related parties? For P, who all are related parties? S related party है because it is part of the same group. S1 related party है because it is part of the same group. A1 related party है because it is the associate or A2 भी related party. So for P, everyone is a related party. Now, for S, P is a related party because it is part of the same group. It is a holding company. S1 is a related party, same group. A1 ग्रुप में से किसी का भी एसोसिएट हो, मेरे लिए वो रिलेटेड पार्टी है, इसलिए S के लिए A1 भी रिलेटेड पार्टी है. ग्रुप में से किसी का भी एसोसिएट हो, वो मेरा रिलेटेड पार्टी है. That is why A2 is also a related party. I hope it is clear. I'm covering everything one by one. Now for A1, P is a related party because it is the holding company. It is A1 is associate of P. उसका सारा ग्रुप उसका रिलेटेड पार्टी है. So S is a related party, S1 is a related party. But for A2 is not a related party. A1 और A2 कहीं पर भी नहीं बोला है कि अगर सेम कॉमन एंटिटी के दो एसोसिएट्स होंगे तो वो दोनों भी एक दूसरे के रिलेटेड पार्टीज है. दिस इज स्टेटेड नोवेयर. जॉइंट वेंचर्स के लिए ऐसे बोला है, इफ देयर इज अ कॉमन एंटिटी, उसके ही दो जॉइंट वेंचर्स हो, देन वो दोनों भी एक दूसरे के रिलेटेड पार्टी है. दिस इज सेड. बट एसोसिएट्स, सेम कॉमन एंटिटी के दो एसोसिएट्स आर नॉट रिलेटेड पार्टी ऑफ ईच अदर. A2 के लिए A1 रिलेटेड पार्टी नहीं है, A1 के लिए A2 रिलेटेड पार्टी नहीं है. I hope it is clear, and don't worry, you don't have to memorize these relationships. I am repeating again and again. अभी आज day 1 पर याद नहीं रहा तो भी चलेगा. Whenever you do it over a period, you will understand what it is and you will memorize these kind of definitions. This post-employment benefits plans you will understand only if the employee benefit standard is covered. We'll discuss it later on. We will go on to the another example. Entity P has 60% over entity Q. मतलब क्या इसका कंट्रोल है ओवर एंटिटी Q. Entity P covers 70% over entity R. That means it controls entity R. P, Q और R उसके सब्सिडरी है. It holds 50% in entity S. मतलब क्या इसका ये joint control है. तो what does it mean? P के लिए Q is a related party because it is part of the same group. R is a related party and S is a related party. Okay. Now for entity Q, P is a related party because it is a holding company and part of the same group. R is a related party because it is the part of the same group, and S is a related party because group में से किसी का भी joint venture हो या किसी का भी associate हो, it is a related party. Similar is for R. R के लिए भी तीनों related parties है. S के लिए R उसका joint venture है और उसका पूरा group P और Q भी related party है. So here everyone is related party of each other. Moving on to the next slide. Entity A has joint control over entity B and significant influence over entity C. Simple, we have covered it earlier. A के लिए B related party है because it has joint control. C related party है because it has significant influence. Even for B, AB related party है और C भी related party है. C क्यों related party है? मेरे ग्रुप में से किसी का भी एसोसिएट हो, it is a related party for me. Okay. Even for C, everyone is related party. A and B are also related parties for entity C. Next, we will cover, after we cover these last three relationships. ये तीन अपने बाकी थे, ठीक है? Now we'll read these three also. The entity is controlled or jointly controlled by person identified in one. Person identified in one मतलब क्या? जो भी persons यहाँ पर identify हुए थे आपके, जो भी persons यहाँ पर, this is one. So यहाँ पर भी मैंने लिखा हुआ है, one is the persons, two is the entity. So जो भी persons आपका इधर आइडेंटिफाई हुए हैं as per the category 1, वो person कहीं और कंट्रोल या ज्वाइंट कंट्रोल कर रहे रहेंगे. So that is a related party for the reporting entity. ठीक है? Second last relationships. Person identified in one subsection 1. That means या वो entity पर कंट्रोल कर रहा है या ज्वाइंट कंट्रोल कर रहा है. So we'll go back. जो भी persons इधर आइडेंटिफाई हुए in one सब part 1, that is either control or joint control over the reporting entity. Whichever persons are identified over here, वो कहीं और, उनका कहीं और significant influence रहेगा. या वो कहीं और KMP रहेगा as a part of that entity or the parent entity. It is a related party for the reporting entity. It might be difficult to read right now, I agree. With examples it might be simpler, we will understand. Then again, the entity or any member of the group which is a part of the key managerial personnel services to the reporting entity who provides the KMP services. These days it is very common, providing CFO services, providing KMP services. वो जो भी एंटिटी है जो CFO सर्विसेज प्रोवाइड करती है या KMP सर्विसेज प्रोवाइड करती है मुझे या मेरे पेरेंट एंटिटी को, इट इज रिलेटेड पार्टी फॉर मी. फॉर एग्जांपल CFO नेक्स्ट, अगर CFO नेक्स्ट ऐसे KMP सर्विस प्रोवाइड कर रही है मुझे, इट इज अ रिलेटेड पार्टी फॉर मी. या मेरे पेरेंट एंटिटी को, इफ इट इज अ प्रोवाइडिंग अ KMP सर्विस, इट इज अ रिलेटेड पार्टी. लेट्स कवर द अदर एग्जांपल्स. I will explain a quick logic for this also. अपन आगे के examples cover करते हैं. To understand it in a very simpler manner, I'll just give you a quick thing to understand it. हमने first part में कौन कौन से identify किए इंडिविजुअल्स, इधर कहीं पर कंट्रोल है या जॉइंट कंट्रोल है. सेकेंड वाज कहीं पर सिग्निफिकेंट इन्फ्लुएंस है क्या. थर्ड कैटेगरी वाज कहीं पर वो KMP है क्या. नाउ कंट्रोल या जॉइंट कंट्रोल इज अ बिग अफेयर. इसको आप नाम ये क्या अंडरस्टैंडिंग के लिए क्या करो, कहीं पर भी आपका कंट्रोल है या जॉइंट कंट्रोल है, इट इज अ वेरी बिग अफेयर. ओके, तो अगर जो भी एंटिटीज, जो भी इंडिविजुअल्स वहां पे आइडेंटिफाई हुए हो, वो कहीं और कुछ भी कर रहे हो, उसका वहां पर कंट्रोल हो, जॉइंट कंट्रोल हो या कहीं और वो KMP हो, दे आर माय रिलेटेड पार्टीज. Okay, so let's go example by example. Mr. A, examples के बाद वो और clarify होगा. Mr. A owns 70% of entity X. मतलब क्या, ये part 1 में identify हुआ है as a related party and 30% of entity Y. तो X के लिए कौन कौन related party है. X के लिए Mr. A is a related party as per part 1. Part 1 के हिसाब से वो related party है. एक बार कोई भी पर्सन पार्ट 1 में रिलेटेड पार्टी करके आइडेंटिफाई हो जाए, वो कहीं और कंट्रोल करता रहे या जॉइंट कंट्रोल करता रहे या सिग्निफिकेंट इन्फ्लुएंस रहे या KMP रहे, वो सारे एंटिटीज मेरे लिए रिलेटेड पार्टी है. तो मिस्टर ए कहीं और सिग्निफिकेंट इन्फ्लुएंस है उसका, इसीलिए फॉर मी इवन एंटिटी Y इज अ रिलेटेड पार्टी. तो मेरे लिए ए भी रिलेटेड पार्टी है, Y भी related party है for me. So whichever persons are identified in in part 1, if they are having anywhere else, if they are having a control or joint control, then for me they are also the related party. That entity is also the related party for me. ठीक है? Next example. Mr. A is holding 100% in entity X and this KMP in entity Y. Part by part जाओ. Mr. A is holding 100% in entity X. मतलब ये क्या है, 1-1. फर्स्ट पार्ट का सब पार्ट 1 के हिसाब से वो रिलेटेड पार्टी है और दूसरे जगह पर वो KMP है. मतलब क्या, ये सब पार्ट 3 के हिसाब से रिलेटेड पार्टी है. ठीक है, अभी अपन देखते हैं कि कौन कौन किस किस का रिलेटेड पार्टी है. फॉर X A is a related party because A is the controlling entity. जो भी persons 1-1 में आइडेंटिफाई हुए हो वो कहीं और KMP हो, that is also my related party. So मेरे लिए entity Y भी related party है, करेक्ट. और ये entity X के लिए Mr. A और entity Y, these two are the related parties. Now we will see for entity Y. एंटिटी Y के लिए कौन कौन रिलेटेड पार्टी है. एंटिटी Y के लिए I'll just erase this parts. एंटिटी Y के लिए उसका KMP मिस्टर A रिलेटेड पार्टी है और वो जहां जहां कंट्रोल कर रहा है एंटिटी X वो भी रिलेटेड पार्टी है और एंटिटी Z बिकॉज इट इज इट्स सब्सिडरी ये भी रिलेटेड पार्टी है. करेक्ट. आई होप इट इज क्लियर फॉर एवरीवन एंड whenever you understand, you will understand this relationships part by part and it will be more clear. Moving ahead to the last example. For this thing, for Mr. L is controlling entity M. Mrs. L is having a significant influence over entity N. किसके लिए कौन कौन related party है? M के लिए L related party है because वो उसको control कर रहा है. उसकी spouse related party है because it is a close family member. ठीक है? Close family member person identified in part 1 उसका कहीं और significant influence रहेगा तो वो भी related party है. So for M, L is a related party, Mrs. L is a related party, and entity N is a related party. ठीक है? For entity N, Mrs. L is a related party, correct? क्योंकि वो उसके it is having a significant influence. उसका spouse is a related party, and entity M is also a related party because the persons identified in part 1 are having control over entity M. जहाँ जहाँ उनका control हो, जो भी 1 में identify हुए हो, उनका कहीं और control हो या joint control हो, सब जगह पे वो related party है. I hope it is clear. If you have any queries, you can ask me at the end. So whichever are not covered in the previous definitions, such as सिर्फ डायरेक्टर कॉमन हो कंपनी में तो इट इज नॉट अ रिलेटेड पार्टी. मेजर कस्टमर, मेजर सप्लायर, मेजर एजेंट्स आर नॉट रिलेटेड पार्टीज. और विथ whomever you are dealing in a normal course of business, these are not related parties. एक बार आपने आइडेंटिफाई कर लिया कि कौन कौन रिलेटेड पार्टी है, then you have to disclose all the transactions, purchase, sales, any kind of transactions with that related parties have to be disclosed in your financial statements. अभी एक और एक क्वेश्चन आएगा कि ये जो सारे रिलेशनशिप्स है ये आप हर एक का डिस्क्लोज करोगे, आप रिलेशनशिप्स भी सब डिस्क्लोज करोगे? Only in case of a parent and subsidiary transactions or parent and subsidiary relationships have to be disclosed even if there are no transactions between that parent and subsidiary. अगर उन दोनों के बीच में कोई भी ट्रांजैक्शन नहीं भी हुए हो तो भी आपको वो डिस्क्लोज करना है कि इसका पेरेंट एंटिटी कौन है, अल्टीमेट पेरेंट एंटिटी कौन है, वो सब कुछ डिस्क्लोज करना है. बाकी के सारे ट्रांजैक्शंस के लिए you will disclose only if there are transactions between that related parties. अगर मेरा मिस्टर ए के साथ कोई ट्रांजैक्शन है ही नहीं तो I won't even disclose the relationship as well as the transactions. Nothing I will disclose between those persons. So it is more simpler. आपको सब relationships disclose नहीं करने हैं. Only those relationships against which you have transactions, only that has to be disclosed. Once you identify that these are the related parties, against that related parties, all the transactions have to be disclosed. Moving ahead. Under Ind AS 24, KMP related party बन गए. KMP एक बार related party बन गए तो जो भी remuneration आप उनको दे रहे हो have to be disclosed in different categories. वो शॉर्ट टर्म है, लॉन्ग टर्म है, शेयर बेस्ड पेमेंट है, उसका सब कैटेगरी में बना के यू विल हैव टू डिस्क्लोज दैट एज अ रिलेटेड पार्टी. ठीक है? यू डोंट हैव टू जस्ट गिव वन सिंगल अमाउंट. एक सिंगल अमाउंट देके कुछ भी नहीं होगा. यू विल हैव टू डिस्क्लोज हर एक पार्ट बाय पार्ट में क्या क्या अमाउंट दिया हुआ है एंड दैट यू विल हैव टू डिस्क्लोज अंडर द रिलेटेड पार्टी ट्रांजैक्शंस. ठीक है? दिस इज द डिफरेंस बिटवीन अ इंडियन गैप अंडर एंड Ind AS. Under Ind AS you don't, under Indian GAAP you used to not give this bifurcation. Under Ind AS you will have to give this bifurcation and you will have to cover ESOP also under the Ind AS. We will require further next 15 minutes additional after 7 also. So I hope you stay tuned. There is the segment reporting is very small standard. It will be covered in next 15 minutes. So we'll extend this session by further 15 minutes up to 7:10, 7:15 we will extend the session. So the differences between Indian GAAP and Ind AS we have covered. Ind AS में non-executive directors भी forms a part of the related party relationships. Post employment benefit plans भी आते हैं. KMP compensation you will have to divide into the parts. Basic salary कितना है, what is the ESOP, you will have to give the bifurcation for the KMP compensation. Then definition of a close family member. Definition of a close family member is different under Ind AS and under the Indian GAAP. The last standard is the operating segments. Please understand, even under the operating segments, what is exactly similar to Indian GAAP, I will tell you at first. How to identify a operating segment? You remember the 10% criteria, 10% of revenue, 10% of assets, 10% of the net profit. ये जो criteria है 10% की, वो exactly similar है कि कौन सा reportable segment है वो identify करने के लिए it is exactly as per Indian GAAP. Then क्या क्या information disclose करनी है, that is also very much similar to what used to be disclosed under Indian GAAP, bearing few additions, except those additions वो भी exactly similar है Indian GAAP के. तो different क्या है? How to identify a operating segment, that is different under Ind AS and Indian GAAP. We'll discuss. Segment reporting का disclosure, अगर आप स्टैंड अलोन और कंसोलिडेटेड दोनों बना रहे हो तो सिर्फ आपको कंसोलिडेटेड में ही देना रिक्वायर्ड है. इट इज नॉट रिक्वायर्ड टू बी गिवन इन द स्टैंड अलोन फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स. ओके, दिस वाज सेम अंडर इंडियन गैप आल्सो. यू हैड दिस एग्जेम्पशन. कंपनीज यूज्ड टू अडॉप्ट, दोनों में भी देते थे, सिर्फ कंसो में भी देते थे. Both is allowed. You can take this exemption and not give the disclosure of operating segments in your standalone financial statements. What is the approach under Ind AS? Approach under Ind AS is identify the CODM. ये part ही different है under Ind AS. Identify the CODM. उसके बाद आप उसके operating segments identify करो. So these two things are a thing which is new under Ind AS. Rest everything is similar. Aggregation criteria, आप कैसे aggregate करोगे segments को, फिर report table कैसे बनाओगे, वो 10% का जो criteria था, 10% of revenue, 10% of assets, that is same, and disclosure is also say 80% same, bearing few additions. Rest all disclosures are also same. Okay, what is a CODM? Chief Operating Decision Maker. So you first have to identify who is the chief operating decision maker of the company. It is the highest level of the organization who is responsible for allocating the resources and identifying the performance of the company or assessing the performance of the company. Okay, तो आप पहले CODM identify करो कि कंपनी का chief operating decision maker कौन है. ये एक इंडिविजुअल भी रह सकता है, एक बोर्ड भी रह सकता है. Anyone can be the CODM. It depends upon the company and the structure of the company. For example, company A is an executive company comprises of CFO, CEO and president. ये सारे companies के chief operating decision makers हैं. Company assesses this committee assesses and makes the allocation of resources. Each member has a single vote. सबके पास single vote है. What is the who is the CODM? This entire committee is the CODM. ठीक है? This entire committee is the CODM. So it can be a board or it can be any person. What next? This is the board. Then, if it is said that it is also mentioned that the president can override the decisions made by the votes given by the other two personnel. Then who is the CODM? In that case, the president is the CODM because it has the overriding powers. Okay. Next example. It is mentioned that a supervisory board reviews the operations of the committee. मतलब एक सिर्फ supervisory board रखा है जो ये committee के operations periodic basis पर review करते हैं. अगर ये periodic basis पर review करते हैं तो reviewing thing is not resources allocate कौन करता है, performance कौन देखता है. Reviewing is not the task. Reviewing क्यों है? ये सिर्फ monitor करने के लिए कि सब कुछ सही चल रहा है कि नहीं चल रहा है. Still this committee will be the CODM. Okay, so reviewing is not a part. ऐसे हर एक company में there will be an audit committee, there will be some kind of reviewing authority, but reviewing authority is not to be considered for the purpose of determination of CODM. Ultimate decision maker is the CODM of the company. एक बार आपने अल्टीमेट डिसीजन मेकर आइडेंटिफाई कर लिया, उसके बाद वो अल्टीमेट डिसीजन मेकर कंपनी को कैसे दिखता है, what all are the operating segments through which the ultimate decision maker views the organization, those are the operating segments for the company. वो operating segments should be able to earn the revenue. The results of the operating segments are regularly reviewed by the CODM. So the MIS of the company, जो वो कंपनी MIS कैसे बनाता है, मैनेजमेंट इंफॉर्मेशन सिस्टम कैसे बना रहा है, उस हिसाब से you will identify what are the operating segments. For example, today many companies say that we have a single operating segment. Is it possible कि जो उसका डिसीजन मेकर है वो कंपनी को एज अ होल दिखता रहेगा? Obviously not. The CODM might be classifying the companies into various categories. Product A, Product B, Product C, Product C, Product D. ऐसे करके वो categorize करके ही देखता रहेगा. So you will have to see what all CODM sees. वो जो areas देखता है, वो areas are they capable of earning revenue? Yes. Is discrete financial information available? Obviously अगर CODM review कर रहा है, मतलब financial information available रहेगा ही. If it is available, then those also become the operating segment. So this is the main difference between the Ind AS and Indian GAAP. Indian GAAP में कहीं पर भी ये नहीं था, reference नहीं था to the CODM or how a management or how MIS is viewed or how the decision maker views the entire company. Once this is identified, these are the operating segments of the company. It might be individual plans हो सकते हैं, आपके legal entities हो सकते हैं, अलग अलग services हो सकते हैं, geography wise हो सकता है, anything. But the main criteria is how the CODM is viewing the entire company. Okay? एक बार ये आपने identify कर लिया, उसके बाद अगर आपके identify हो गए कि product A, B, C, D are the operating segments, उसके बाद reportable कौन कौन से है? अगर आपके ऐसे 50 प्रोडक्ट रहेंगे तो will you show 50 segments? That is why this reporting criteria is there. So reporting criteria same है, इसमें कुछ नया नहीं है, जो Indian GAAP में था वही इधर है. Reporting criteria is what? Whichever segment is exceeding 10% of the total revenue, that has to be reported, or it is exceeding 10% of the profit or loss combined together, that has to be reported as a segment, or 10% of the segment assets. मतलब क्या, to give for an example, अगर मेरी कंपनी का टोटल रेवेन्यू 100 करोड़ है, 100 करोड़ अगर मेरा रेवेन्यू है, तो जो भी सेगमेंट एक्सीड्स द वैल्यू ऑफ 10 करोड़ विल बी द रिपोर्टेबल सेगमेंट. ठीक है, तो दिस रिपोर्टेबल क्राइटेरिया इज सेम हाउ इट वाज देयर अंडर द इंडियन GAAP. ये एक बार सेगमेंट रिपोर्टेबल हो गया, अगेन सेम कंडीशन एज पर इंडियन GAAP, जो भी आपके रिपोर्टेबल सेगमेंट्स आइडेंटिफाई हुए उसका टोटल रेवेन्यू शुड बी मिनिमम 75% और मोर. अगर वो 75% का क्राइटेरिया मीट नहीं कर रहा है तो आप और भी रिपोर्टेबल सेगमेंट्स आइडेंटिफाई करते हो. ओके, आफ्टर दैट व्हाट यू हैव टू डिस्क्लोज फॉर दिस सेगमेंट इंफॉर्मेशन. आप डिस्क्लोजर में क्या क्या देते हो? So main what was different is identification of the CODM. After the identification of CODM, only the segment information disclosure part is left. So under disclosure, what do you give is how did you identify the segments? What are the products and services of each particular segment? What are the revenues, profits, assets and liabilities of that segment? If the segment revenue is different than the revenue reported under the P&L, you give the reconciliation. Generally कभी होता नहीं है, जो segment में revenue है वही P&L में revenue रहता है. But just in case if it is different under segment, you give reconciliation between the P&L revenue and the segment revenue, and you also give other material disclosures. I have also given a disclosure of a L&T, the listed company ने कैसे कैसे disclose किया है. तो ये सारे पैरामीटर्स ऐसे देखने से, so it is better we view how the listed companies disclose the segment information. So I have given an annual report of L&T. So यहाँ पर आपको ज़्यादा डिटेल में समझ में आएगा कि कैसे segment information disclose करते हैं. So over here segment information में what have they disclosed? These are the reportable segments of the entity. Infrastructure, power, heavy engineering, electrical and automation, others are the these four are the reportable segments. जो भी बचा वो सब कुछ उन्होंने अदर्स में डाल दिया. So whatever is remaining is into the others category. This is the revenue that is disclosed by L&T into the segment information. External revenue is disclosed and inter-segment revenue is also disclosed. After that, segment-wise profit and loss before interest and taxes is disclosed. So this is the profit and loss segment-wise that we'll have to disclose. So कभी भी disclosures देखने रहे ना, always refer an annual report of a listed company. It is more easier to understand what disclosures are required. ऐसे अगर आप standard से देखने जाओगे ना, it is very difficult to understand and remember what are the disclosures required. Then you also disclosed the operating profit. Interest expense or interest income segment wise allocable नहीं था, इसलिए they disclosed it as a one thing. Profit and taxes are also not required to be disclosed segment wise because it is very difficult to bifurcate the taxes between the segments. तो ये single amount करके दिया गया है, profit before exceptional item and profit after the exceptional items. This profit should match with what you are disclosing as profit in your P&L account. Okay, after that you will also have to disclose segment wise assets and segment wise liabilities. आपका current date, comparative year and the date of transition, ये तीनों date के लिए आपको ये bifurcation देना है segment wise assets and liabilities. कुछ अगर unallocable रहेंगे, unallocable assets and liabilities वो बाद में as a single line item करके आ जाता है and your total assets should match with what is appearing in your balance sheet. तो कुछ अगर unallocable रहेगा वो आप single item करके डाल दोगे, inter segment assets and liabilities रहेगा, that also you will show it as a single line item. All right, after that you will also have to disclose what is segment wise depreciation, amortization and impairment, segment wise non-cash expenditures and segment wise additions to the non-current assets. All right, so this has to be disclosed segment wise. After that, this information is new under the Ind AS 108. Even if you, in whatever forms you disclose your segment, you will have to give the geographical information. How much is the revenue within India and how much is the revenue out of India. This bifurcation has to be given irrespective of in whichever form you identify the segments. The revenue between India, within India and out of India has to be given in your segment information. So this is new under the Ind AS. After that, same is continued. Non-current assets within India. India में आपके कितने non-current assets है and non-current assets in the foreign countries has to be mandatorily disclosed. Okay. After that, what you have to disclose is what was the basis of identification of segments. ये तो general, this is the theory part. How did you identify the segments? How did you identify the reportable segments? How did you identify the segment profit? This is a theory part. What is another part is if a particular single customer is contributing more than 10% of the total revenue, you will have to disclose that thing. Disclose the fact. Customer का नाम नहीं देना है. Just disclose if there is a customer who is contributing more than 10% of the segment revenue. If it is yes, mention yes, the company is having such customers which are giving more than 10% of the revenue. If no, then give it as a does not exceed. Okay, then you will give the basis of identifying. This is just like the accounting policy कि segment कैसे identify किया, reportable segment क्या था, segment का profit कैसे निकाला. These all is the theory part or the explanatory part that you give in your annual report. So this is the exact extract how it is appearing in the L&T's financial statements. Okay, so this was all about all the three standards: Ind AS 108, Ind AS 24 and Ind AS 20. If you have any questions, you can please raise your questions. We will discuss it one by one.